Well, there has been quite the stir. Many people have been asking me to cover this. Many people have been asking me to dive into this and give everyone the rundown of everything that's going on because there's a lot of moving pieces in this. I wanted to hold out until everyone had their say because I knew for a fact that basically everyone involved in this was going to jump in. There was a couple of other people that jumped in that I didn't see coming, but we'll get into that in just a moment. It is all to do with the Paranormal Files or Colin's most recent video, including the Side-Eye Guy and Dawson Toller. Now, basically, he titled it Ghost Hunting with a Skeptic and a Debunker. The idea was that the Paranormal Files did a video with Dawson Toller, who is the skeptic, and the debunker, which is the Side-Eye Guy. It was, premise-wise, a very good idea. Did anyone see the fallout coming? Probably. I think it was kind of inevitable, but I'm not here to pass judgment. I'm just here to let you guys know what is going on. So the video dropped, alright, and there was instant criticism aimed towards the video. The first video that kind of seeped out about this was from Boo Productions Paranormal, right? Who talked about the Paranormal Files investigating with skeptics. And basically the concept of his video was that, well, basically to kind of talk about what has gone on. So the idea is that, Boo Productions disputes that Collins claims that investigations are experiments with skeptics, asserting that Dawson invited Colin for a collaboration, not an experiment. And then Boo strongly disagrees with Colin, labelling Dawson as a skeptic, emphasising that Dawson is not skeptical and is known for being open to paranormal experiences. So this was the first place where people kind of seem to get their heckles up, especially in the debunking community, labelling Dawson as a skeptic, when in actuality, apparently he's not skeptical at all. Apparently he's very open to the paranormal and different experiences. So that was where people kind of got their heckles up to begin with. Now, Colin suggests in his video that skeptics who dismiss paranormal possibilities may hinder experiences, a point that Boo Production partially agrees with but critiques as an oversimplistic, narrative of it. And then Boo argues that the true investigation involves debunking rational explanations before concluding paranormal activity, and he questions the validity of the devices like the DR60 being used in the investigations and certain apps used by Colin, which he believes to produce unreliable results. Now, after conducting at the Old Park Hotel in Texas, the investigation with Dawson was less active than expected, and Boo challenges Colin's implication that Dawson's supposed skepticism caused the lack of activity, noting inconsistencies with the location's activity across multiple visits. Then we get onto the Side-Eye Guy's investigation from Boo Productions' point of view. And the second investigation was at the Nevada State Prison, as we are aware, with the Side-Eye Guy, which was more active. With reported bangs, shuffling noises, and other phenomena. Boo notes that Side-Eye Guy is a known debunker who took the investigation seriously and was open to experiences contradicting Colin's theory that skeptics prevent paranormal activity. Now, to conclude this video from Boo Productions, he basically states that Colin's experiment fails to prove that skeptics hinder paranormal experiences, as active investigations occurred with the Side-Eye Guy, a skeptic, while less active one involved Dawson, who is not a skeptic. So that was kind of Boo Productions' take on it, kind of being like, he had some thoughts and opinions on the idea of Dawson being labelled as a skeptic, when apparently he's not. Basically kind of jumping on it from his point of view. The next person to kind of comment on the situation was Fantastique Publishing. Now, this person is a commentary YouTuber, I suppose, within the paranormal space, and they claim themselves to be a part of the debunking community. They uploaded a video titled "No One Is Above Scrutiny." Now, there were three people and three focal points of this video in particular that focused myself, Debunked Paranormal, and the Paranormal Files, of course. Now, the idea and premise of this video was to kind of talk about the fact that nobody should be above scrutiny regardless of, what goes on within a video. Now, the idea is that, said that they made this video because they love the paranormal and debunking community and have been part of it for 5+ years, and addresses the need for scrutiny across all paranormal investigation channels to advance legitimate research prompted by 3 of the recent videos that include, like, from the channels that I've just mentioned. Now, they claim that no channel, whether fake or legitimate, should be exempt from scrutiny, and this is essential for the growth and credibility of the paranormal research. And scrutiny helps uncover deceptive practices and ensures integrity, benefiting the field by fostering learning and progress. Now, the debunking community obviously has very much grown in recent times, and this is something that Fantastique kind of labels within their video. Now, there was a response to 3 videos, like I stated. So the first one was from the Paranormal Files. So Fantastique criticises Colin's opening statements within the video, featuring collaborations between Dawson and the Side-Eye Guy, particularly for mislabeling Dawson as a skeptic. Once again, that was kind of a key talking point, and expressing disdain for the paranormal and for the debunking community, implying unfairly target channels. So just bear that thought in mind, because that's going to be pivotal for, like, what really kind of exploded this drama, like, you know, to the point where it kind of became drama. Before this point, it was just kind of people kind of, I guess, nitpicking, and then it became full-blown drama. But yeah, so we could see the writing on the wall here. You know, one person already kind of talking about, you know, mislabeling the paranormal and debunking community and kind of taking some alleged shots. They then talk about Debunk Paranormal, who analysed the Ouija Brothers I Love You saga. Now, we all know about that saga, and, you know, there was a lot of noise surrounding that, because Debunked Paranormal made a video essentially talking about, you know, that saga, not necessarily debunking it, but more analysing it. People saw that it was a video on the Ouija Brothers and instantly was like, no, we're going to unsubscribe from this person, and all the rest of it. It became quite a cynical thing. And the idea of this video is, like, the Ouija Brothers shouldn't be above scrutiny or skepticism. And then there was my video. Now, obviously, within it, Fantastique claims that I misrepresent the Paranormal Files collaborations as a novel event, ignoring the long history of skeptic investigators collaborations. For example, Kenny Biddle, Beardo, and all the rest of it doing their own paranormal investigations. Now, I just want to clarify for the record, because I know that this is something that Beardo also said in his video, which we'll get onto in just a minute. I think people have misunderstood what I was trying to say. Now, 2 people have, you know, misrepresented it or misunderstood it, so clearly that's a shortfalling on my part. So let me just clear the record now that I wasn't talking about, you know, debunkers doing paranormal investigations and, you know, collaborations, just full stop. Because I know for a fact that Beardo does them with the Ouija Brothers or whoever, right? But my point was that this was a paranormal investigation between a debunker who has publicly called out a paranormal channel for being fake and, you know, taking jabs and shots at them. And the paranormal channel kind of, like, responding a little bit, and these guys kind of butting heads a little bit, putting those differences aside to then go and paranormal investigate together. We've never really seen that. We've never really seen a channel that's been called out by a debunker then go and investigate with said debunker. We've never seen that, as far as I'm aware. Correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I'm aware. That's why this isn't a novel event, but this is, you know, a precedent. And I think this should be used moving forwards. Now, I know a lot of people will disagree with that. And a lot of people will be like, oh, you know, fakers shouldn't work with the real guys and all the rest of it. But, you know, I think that what the Side-Eye Guy and what the Paranormal Files have done is a good thing, ultimately. So I did leave a comment under Fantastique's video, kind of talking about this one and kind of, you know, clearing up. I think I kind of sum it up better in my comment, and I just stated, this is a really interesting video and thought-provoking. I just want to say, though, I feel like you misunderstood my take on all of this. Perhaps I didn't portray it well enough, and if so, then that's on me. When I was referring to this being the first time that we've seen a collaboration like this, I wasn't referring to collaborations of the debunking community. I was talking about the first time that we've seen a paranormal channel that's been publicly called out numerous times, putting aside their grievances and working together with someone that has publicly called them out. There isn't another time where it's happened on this size or scale. That specifically is what I was praising. I'm aware that the debunking channels collab with other investigators, but it is normally people that they deem to be legit, not someone that they've publicly called out. I hope this makes a bit more sense. Very good video though, and please don't see this as anything negative from me. Just wanted to clear the record with that. Fantastic did not see this as a negative, and they actually took it on board and were like, all right, fair enough. Anyway, so that's kind of Fantastic's video talking about it. Then we get into where things went from 0 to 100. So Beardo then jumps into the situation, as I'm sure no one is surprised about. You know, the Paranormal Files, I'm annoyed. Obviously, my face is at the start of the video because for the reasons that I've just cleared up. You know, regardless, it doesn't really matter. And this is where things got interesting. So, obviously, for the same reasons that I've mentioned before, where, like, you know, Boo Productions and Fantastic have already criticised that labelling Dawson Toller as a skeptic when apparently he's not. And also, you know, Colin taking those shots at the beginning, allegedly, towards the debunking community. This is where Beardo chimes in. Now, obviously, he reacted to the video by the Paranormal Files, criticising Colin's portrayal of the collaboration with Dawson Toller and the Side-Eye Guy as a novel skeptical experiment. That was obviously me that he was talking about, and accuses Colin as being a known faker, weaponises the debunking community. So that's kind of the angle that Beardo goes into this at. Now, Beardo disputes that Colin's claims that the collaboration with the debunker Side-Eye Guy and the skeptic Dawson Toller is unique, citing prior examples of Mr. Gray's investigation with the Ouija brothers years earlier. And he accuses Colin of lying about the setup, noting that Dawson and the Side-Eye Guy invited Colin, not the other way around, and that Colin misrepresents the event as his own idea. Now, Beardo labels Colin as a faker and a con artist, pointing to his use of the DR60 recorder, a device known for producing false positives due to its unshielded microphone and evidence of a deliberate deception. And he references past incidents like the table tipping video where Colin's brother-in-law allegedly pushed the table as proof of Colin's dishonesty. Now, Beardo strongly refutes that Colin's description of Dawson as a skeptic, calling him a staunch believer in the paranormal who ignores skeptical critiques despite associating with debunkers. Now, one thing that was kind of noted in this was that Beardo labelled him, I can't remember the terminology used, basically called him clueless on the topic, which was something that people kind of picked up on later on. So he expressed frustration with Dawson's apparent cluelessness about the focus on clicks and views, questioning why he would even work with Colin knowing his reputation. Then he labels the Side-Eye Guy as a cynic. So Beardo describes Side-Eye Guy as a cynic, not just a skeptic who mocks the paranormal, but is open to investigating, contrasting him with Dawson's strong belief. And he suggests that Colin used the Side-Eye Guy's involvement to create a narrative against the debunking community. And then there's the narrative that Beardo runs with, which is weaponizing the debunking community. So Beardo accuses Colin of using the collaboration to take underhand shots at the debunking community, claiming Colin portrays debunkers as unfairly critical while ignoring his own deceptive practices. And he highlights Colin's contradictory statements, saying that he won't criticize the community, but then does so, accusing debunkers of slander and bullying without evidence. Beardo then challenges Colin's claims that skeptics must believe in the paranormal to have experiences, sharing personal stories of unexplainable events. And then he also argues that many people, including his mother, have had paranormal experiences without prior belief, contradicting Colin's narrative and openness is required. Now, Beardo emphasises that the debunker's focus on analysing evidence is not dismissal for personal experiences without proof, and recounts respecting his mother's profound experience because it lacked video evidence to debunk. He advocates for a logical, evidence-based approach to investigations, checking for rational explanations before considering paranormal causes. And then he goes on to talk about his refusal to work with known well, quote-unquote fakers. So Beardo reveals that he declined to collaborate with Colin due to his belief that Colin fakes his content, warning that working with fakers allows them to manipulate narratives as seen in this video. And he regrets that the Side-Eye Guy collaborated with Colin, believing it enabled Colin to exploit the debunking community for his own gain. And then Beardo urges fakers to be honest about their content and to leave the paranormal community, which should focus on legitimate investigation. And he calls for the community to avoid hate and bullying in the comments, anticipating Colin might cry, quote-unquote cry bullying in response, but encourages constructive discussion with YouTube's terms of service. Now, obviously, Beardo's response was a lot more emotionally charged than that of Fantastique and Boo Productions that came prior to this, which is exactly why it's kind of sparked a bit more of a response from a lot of people. Now, after this video dropped, Fantastique, who we mentioned prior, has also dropped another video labelled Don't Prove Colin Right. And within this video, there's again more concerns about whether the paranormal community is in trouble because of the drama that's being fueled, and also because of this kind of mesh of fakeness and realness. All right, so basically, Fantastique tries to encourage people during this turbulent time to be just endure, and basically, she talks about the importance of the YouTube paranormal community. So the community, though small and lesser known globally, is significant for its focus on paranormal research and investigation. And Fantastique emphasizes the need to critique how the paranormal is researched, investigated, and discussed to keep the field legitimate and advancing. Now, obviously, drama is a constant in the paranormal community, and this is something that Fantastique comments on. And, it's driven by disagreements over content or actions, as exemplified by Beardo's recent upset with Colin from the Paranormal Files. And Fantastique acknowledges their own role in addressing drama through vlogs, but prefers focusing on the subject matter itself. Now, obviously, she then goes on to talk about this specific drama. So Beardo is the largest debunker in the community, criticised Colin for the video, obviously, as we know. And Fantastique previously covered Colin's video, obviously in the video that we mentioned earlier, criticising that his thinly veiled attacks on debunkers while being personal, while hypercritically making personal remarks himself. Beardo's frustration that Collins stems from long-standing issues, though he had held back due to external factors. Now, many people obviously have not criticised the Side-Eye Guy, but because obviously they don't want to criticize him because he can make his own choices, but they've kind of steered into this idea that maybe it wasn't the greatest of ideas, which then sparked a response from the Side-Eye Guy himself. Now, this is why I was holding off, because I knew for a fact that there was no way that the Side-Eye Guy could just let this one slide, as much as I think, with all the noise being made, and, Beardo's emotionally charged response, Fantastique getting involved, Boo Productions getting involved, there's a lot of noise around this. And he responded with a video titled, My Response to Beardo's Paranormal Files Video and the Comments Section. Because, of course, the comment section in Beardo's video was... there were some critical comments of the Side-Eye Guy, so those are the comments that he's, responding to in particular. And he basically goes on to talk about his point of view of the collaboration. Now, obviously, the Side-Eye Guy responds to Beardo's video criticising Colin and the collaboration between Seg and Dawson Toller, aiming to clarify his perspective and address misconceptions without adding to the existing anger in the paranormal community. Now, Seg emphasises this is not an angry or negative response video, expressing the desire to avoid escalating drama and anger surrounding Beardo's critique. And he acknowledges Beardo's video, but notes it did not directly attack him, though the comments section contains accusations that Colin took advantage or fooled Seg. Now, Seg explains that the collaboration with Colin was simply three YouTubers, himself, Colin, and Connor, coming together, to film a ghost hunt in a Nevada state prison with no ulterior motives. He does not feel manipulated or deceived by Colin, describing the experience as a positive, consensual collaboration where they had a good time, ate together, and even shook hands. Seg is unsure who initiated the collaboration, but recalls discussing it with Colin when he was in Nevada, and Colin suggested the Nevada State Prison as was a location that he'd been to before. He gave as good as he got in banter during the shoot, maintaining the same critical energy he had in prior videos about Colin, which Colin accepted without seeking special treatment. Now, Seg rejects the narrative in Beardo's comments section and his own that he was a victim or fooled by Colin, emphasizing that he will willingly participate and felt no deception occurred during the investigation. And he encourages viewers who are upset by the decision to collaborate with Colin to unsubscribe, asserting his rights to make such choices and, basically predicting future controversial collaborations. Now, Seg reiterates that his long-standing rule for collaborations, that he only works with people that he likes and enjoys spending time with, regardless of their reputation, as seen in past collaborations with Dawson Toller and Nightmare Nation. He values when question channels like Colin or Dawson show character by inviting him to investigate, as it aligns with his goal of bridging the gap between debunkers and ghost hunters through open collaboration. Now, Seg references a video from 11 months ago about Amy's Crypt collaboration with Chris Starr, where he expresses openness to working with controversial channels if he gets along with them, acknowledging potential backlash but standing by his approach. He contrasts in stance with Beardo's stricter rule against collaborating with quote-unquote fakers, respecting Beardo's position but defending his own decision to work with Colin. And Seg criticises the us versus them mentality in the debunker community, advocating for openness and to collaboration and to foster understanding even when those channels are accused of questionable practices. And he notes a similar backlash occurred when he collaborated with Dawson, who was initially criticised but later accepted by parts of the community, suggesting Beardo's dislike of Dawson is a separate issue. And then to round off the video, Seg clarifies that the video is not about defending Colin, who has a large platform and can defend himself, but addressing the misrepresentations of his own intentions in the collaboration. And he maintains his critical stance towards Colin's content, as evidenced by an upcoming reaction to Colin and Collar's earlier Nevada State Prison investigation, which he describes as funny and impartial. Now, basically, within the closing thoughts, he says that he dislikes making these responsive, ranty videos as they clutter his channel and considers removing them later, but right now he's undecided, so this video may not stay up for very long, and he hopes his viewers look forward to what he has coming up next. So, obviously, that's kind of where we're at. Beardo did do a live stream over on his channel labeled Aliens or Handbags, and basically within the live stream I watched up until the point where he kind of talked about the controversy. I think he was keen, based off of what I'd seen, he was keen to kind of talk about it because clearly it was an elephant in the room, and then he stated that he was going to talk about it and leave it there. Within that, he basically, doubles down on his video, does state that he regrets the way that he approached the whole Dawson situation, and he didn't really comment too much on the Side Eye Guys video, though I do believe he left a comment in the Side Eye Guys video talking about his point of view from it, so I'll kind of pull that up very quickly because I think that's important context for Side Eye. I should have pulled this up before. Basically talking about, it's just important context essentially, but I got to wade through the comment section. Now, the comment section on the Side Eye Guys video, as you'll probably see as I'm scrolling, is a bit of a minefield. Some people stating that they were fans of Beardo, but now really strongly dislike this, drama chat direction that he's gone in. This is their words, not mine. Some people stating that they like it when he debunks but aren't too caring for his ranty videos that he does. There's a lot of mismatch. A lot of people saying, I stand by Beardo. A lot of people saying that they just don't like Beardo, full stop. But This is the response from Beardo. Appreciate the respectful response. You may have missed the point though. It was the investigation. I did make it clear I won't work with him or certain others. It was the post-investigation recording that Colin inserted that jabbed debunkers and the debunking community that pissed me off. Really pissed me off. It took advantage of you and the community in my eyes. As for the comments section, they are like that everywhere. Mine, yours, anyone's. You'll see that the 2 liars in your comment section I've responded to today. By the way, some of the unsub people will say the same again in a month, because I'm fully aware the same lady has unsubbed for me, may have unsubbed 3 times since. Side-Eye Guy has responded to this somewhere. Here it is. I didn't miss any points, just made the point that I wanted to address. Obviously, a very, very blunt response there from the Side-Eye Guys. So, you know, I'm not going to speculate. I am going to speculate. He does seem pissed. Whether he's pissed at the situation or whether he's pissed at Beardo's video, I don't know. You know, that's just speculation. But obviously, there appears to be a bit of, based off of my interpretation of this, a bit of a rift caused by all of this. You know, Beardo's incredibly strong stance that the legit guys shouldn't work with fakers because guilty by association, and then the Side-Eye Guy's openness and being like, well, I don't care. Like, who cares? You know, it's one of those things where it was always going to cause some kind of rift. Now, it's worth noting that I've got a chat coming up with Colin from the Paranormal Files just to kind of talk about what's gone on. It's not going to be, you know, handbag slinging as my questions won't provoke that, at least. That's what I'm trying to say. But it's also an opportunity for Colin to kind of talk about the situation at hand. I've got a very busy weekend coming up and he's busy recording, so it may be a few days before we see that. But, you know, I'll be intrigued to see and chat with him. And if there's anything that you want me to ask in particular, leave it down in the comments. But while you're down there, 26 minutes, guys. 26 minutes of this, covering this. There's been a lot of moving factors. I hope that you guys are all kind of caught up, understanding where everyone is coming from. Let me know what you guys think about all of this down in the comments below, way down there. Jump scare the hell out of that like button and subscribe. And until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.